We are 48 hours away from UFC Vegas 106 at the Apex. I will be there in attendance at the Apex, my first ever Apex card. Now, I've been to many events live and in person, whether it was a pay-per-view or a fight night. I've been to probably around 10 or so. I'm going to tell you right now, cash-in bets live and in person, it's just a different feeling. You got the atmosphere around you, people cheering, some people are mad. Cash in with the boys, there's nothing better. I don't know how it's going to go at the Apex because it's not really that many people there. And if you scream too loud, you're probably going to be able to hear it on the broadcast. So I don't know what the vibe is going to be like. I'm going to try and do a little vlog for you and bring you the Apex experience through a video. So we'll stay tuned to that on the HI Picks YouTube channel. But this is the best bet show for UFC Vegas 106. Please, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscription button. There's a lot of you that watch every single week, watch every video that aren't subscribed. So please hit the subscription button for me, like the video for me, and we can get into the video. We got Gilbert Burns, Michael Morales, main event, Apex. I'm going to give you 3 bets throughout this video. I'm going to give you a moneyline bet, a round prop bet, and a prop bet. In addition, I'll give you every single one of my DFS plays, and I will give you a free promo code so you can get all my bets this weekend absolutely free. Stay tuned throughout the video so you can get that and you can lock in and tail the kid because we have been on a nice little heater. But before we do that, we got to recap how last week went. As always, I like to be transparent. And last week, I gave you Jack Della Maddalena money line at plus 175. Turned out to be an amazing bet. It was a very good buy low spot on Jack, a very good sell high spot on Bilal Muhammad, and we cashed it with ease, man. I really thought Jack was up 3-0 going into the fourth. I thought Bilal probably needed a finish, and Jack ended up taking the fifth, so I really thought it was probably 49-46. Maybe even arguable that he won 5-0, but apparently Jack did need to win that fifth round, so glad that he did that. And a lot of people were saying, his cardio wouldn't hold up against Bilal. It looked like he was the fresher fighter in the fifth round. Great game plan from Jack. Probably not the best game plan from Bilal. I thought maybe he could have been a little bit more aggressive with that game plan of trying to wrestle, but I thought Jack did everything he needed to do to make it tough for Bilal to implement the game plan that he probably wanted to. So Jack Della gets it done. We cash our bet on the money line at plus 175 for a unit. The prop bet was not good. I'm man enough to say when I made a bad bet, and Radke plus 3.5 or a Radke money line, whatever you want to say, is a bad bet. It's a bad bet. Mike Malott just looked way better than Charlie Radke there, and I think in hindsight, it was a great buy low spot on Mike Malott. So bad bet there on the prop bet, but we lose 1 unit there on the Radke plus 3.5 spread. And then if you join the Telegram, like I said, to get the third bet, because I didn't have a ton of bets locked in when I filmed this. I have this filmed usually on Thursday, and I don't have a ton of bets usually locked in on a Thursday. I'll add some more once props come out on Friday. So I didn't give it to you in the video, but I said join the free Telegram. I'll make sure I'll give you a bet in the free Telegram. I gave you the fight does not go the distance in the Jasmine Jasovicius Jessica Andrade fight. That bet cashed with ease. It was a first round finish, and I told you could sprinkle on Jazzy round 2 or round 3 finish at big plus odds. Unfortunately, she did get her out in round 1. So we cashed the fight doesn't go the distance at minus 113 for a unit, but then we lose 0.25 units on round 2 and 0.2 units on round 3. But overall, is a net positive on that third bet that I gave you. So overall, last week, and the 3 bets that I gave you, I went up 1.19 units. So on the year, we're still minus 397 units in 2025 over the course of the 3 bets that I gave you in the best bet show. It's kind of tough to give you 3 bets on a Thursday because usually I don't have that many bets locked in. I'll have like 4 or 5, somewhere around there. And then I got to choose 3. Ultimately, we like to be in the green, but we're looking to be positive overall. So the 3 bets that I give you aren't exactly, the perfect example of what's going on. The DFS plays, we did cash 1 unit on DFS of the 5 slips that I gave you. We cashed the Rivals play, and we cashed the 2 ladies lowers because I thought that was an amazing play. I even said it in the video. I was like, I love this play. And it cashed with ease. We went 1 and 2 on these 2 slips. Unfortunate because both of these fighters got finished in the first round. So if you're playing a higher, it's really not going to happen to cash in the first round unless it's a super low number. So unfortunate there, but we still picked up a unit of profit on DFS. Now, I think it's time we get into the bets. The Moneyline bet this week is going to be Tainara Lisboa. Lisboa is a solid fighter. I think she's coming in here against Luana Santos, being off a year and a half with a knee injury. There's a lot of red flags you might look for, and those are concerns. But I do think in women's MMA, you can come back from an injury a little bit easier. And in women's MMA, the age at 34 years of age doesn't really scare me too much because she's not a fighter that really relies on big explosive movements. She's a very technical striker. I think her hands are going to be a lot crisper than Luana Santos. This is more of a fade on Luana Santos as a favorite. But I also still do believe in Tainara Lisboa as a fighter in the bantamweight division, because for one, the bantamweight division is not that great. But Luana Santos is a flyweight fighter. She's going up to 135. I don't understand why she's doing that. I don't know what her motivations are at 135. She's definitely a flyweight. At 135, she just looks a little chunky. Lisboa is a true 135er, much better striker. I think she can get offensive takedowns if she needs to. Luana's not exactly the greatest offensive wrestler. The only thing I'm really scared about is that judo. If that judo comes into play, I think she could maybe get Lisboa to the ground, but I don't know that she's going to do anything with it. I don't think Santos' jiu-jitsu is out of this world, and I don't think Lisboa is some terrible grappler. I think she's really improved that part of her game. She's got a long history of experience in combat sports. So I'm going to trust Lisboa here at plus 145. I really thought this should be, a pick 'em. If not, Lisboa should be the favorite. So at plus 145, I think we're getting the better of it. There's your money line bet for the week. Lisboa money line for 1 unit. Let's get into the Underdog Plays. If you're in one of these highlighted states, you're going to want to download the Underdog app. If you have not yet, you can use code HeyJive. Get that deposit bonus up to $1,000 so you can put your plays in for free and cash slips like these. We hit this one on UFC London. We hit this one on UFC 314. And last week, as I showed you earlier in the video, we picked up 1 unit. So that improves our total to 93.57 units in profit since 2024 on 2 pick entries alone. So that's not even including this 18x payout or this 20x payout. This is just 2 pick entries alone. So there's a link down in the description. Download the Underdog app. Or if you're watching this on a TV, you can pull out your phone, scan this QR code, and you can download it from there. Just be a little bit easier on you. Or if you're watching on a monitor or whatever, and you can just whip out your phone, scan the QR code, download it there, get your deposit bonus. You can lock these plays in. Let's take a look. The 5-pick entry this week is going to be Luana Pinheiro, lower than 52.5 significant strikes. She's not a high-volume striker. She's a girl that really likes to hit you with big shots. She's not going to be poking from the outside. And Tisha Pennington's going to be the one that's poking from the outside. She's going to want to keep that range, use that side kick, be in and out, use her footwork. And Pinheiro's going to be the one that's trying to track her down and land heavy shots. I also do believe Pinheiro's probably going to be looking to grapple in this one. Pinheiro has decent judo. I think this fight could, end up in the clinch for a little bit, hit the fight, or the fight could hit the ground for a little bit. So I like the lower on Pinheiro. I think she's hit this in like 5 of her last 7 fights. She's just not a high volume girl. And, even though it's women's MMA, we still have upside for an early finish. So I like the lower on Luana Pinheiro. Carlos Hernandez higher than 44.5 significant strikes. I think this fight goes to a decision. I don't think Park is a great striker. I think he's very hittable. I don't think Hernandez has some big power. So I think we have really solid chance to make this 15 minutes. And I don't really see extended periods of grappling in this one. I think both guys are pretty good scramblers. I don't see either guy, getting stuck on their back for a whole round. And considering this is a flyweight fight, both guys are probably going to be able to scramble out of it. And I think we get on the feet here. And I think Carlos Hernandez's boxing is going to allow him to rack up significant strikes on the feet, land 2-3 punch combinations to start to get those numbers up. So I like Hernandez higher than 44.5. Elise Reed lower than 52.5. Denise Gomes doesn't get hit with a lot of significant strikes. She does not, because she throws hard. And if Elise Reed's going to try to pick and poke at her, she's going to probably get put in the clinch, where Denise Gomes is going to be the aggressor. She's going to be more physical. She's going to try to drag her down to the ground. And in all reality, Elise Reed's clinch and ground game is just not good. So I think we could see an early finish here as well, or at least a finish at some point. And I don't think Elise Reed's going to be landing a lot of significant strikes. She's not a girl that is going to throw a ton of volume. And I think Denise Gomes is a girl that's not going to allow you to just pick and poke at her. She's an aggressor. She's going to go at you. She's going to use her physicality, put you up against the cage to where she's not taking any damage. So I like Elise Reed, lower than 52.5. Thiago Moises to get at least one takedown. To get at least one takedown, he averages about a little over one takedown per 15 minutes. I think his clear path here is to try to go for those takedowns, and I expect him to get at least one. I mean, Jared Gordon has about a 60-some% takedown defense. I don't think it's, the best in the world. And I think Thiago knows if I just stand with Jared Gordon, I'm probably going to lose. Like, it might be competitive, but he needs to use his best asset, and that is his ground game. So how does he get it there? He gets a takedown. Thiago Moises to get at least one takedown in a fight that's favored to go 15 minutes looks pretty good to me. Michael Morales, higher than 64.5 significant strikes. I really don't see an early finish here. I just don't. I don't think Burns is going to go out to some shots for Michael Morales. I mean, Morales has power, and he's a very explosive athlete. He's very physical. He's got a reach advantage. So maybe he could clip Burns with something that puts him out in, round 1 or 2. But I think this fight probably extends into the 3rd, 4th, maybe even goes to a decision. And I think Michael Morales is going to use his length to his advantage, throw a lot of jabs out there, throw a lot of kicks out there, and he's probably going to rack up a lot of significant strikes. He lands over 5 significant strikes per minute. So realistically, we need this fight to go about 12.5 minutes to hit his mark, and I think he probably does it. So Michael Morales, higher than 64.5. There's your 5-legger to win 20x on Underdog. We got 2 pick entries here. Hernandez higher on significant strikes. Moises to get at least one takedown. Pinheiro and Elise Reed lower than 52.5 significant strikes. There's a 3x payout there as well. And then we got a 3x payout here. We got Myron Santos higher than 55.5 significant strikes. Sadiq Yusuf is very hittable. And the only reason I don't see this hitting is, if there's an early finish. But I got to trust, the durability of Sadiq Yusuf. I don't think Myron Santos has amazing, knockout power. Obviously, if he hits a nice sharp counter, he could put out Sadiq. But I think Santos is a guy that likes to be very defensively sound. He likes to pick away at range. So I expect him to land a lot of significant strikes here. If it ends early, okay. But, I think this fight is favored to go the distance at like minus 200 something. I just got to trust it. I'll take Myron Santos higher than 55.5. And then we got Morales higher than 64.5. 2 picks. Correct wins 3x. There's your Underdog Plays this week. Once again, if you need, or if you haven't downloaded the Underdog app yet, there's a link down in the description below. Use code HeyJive, get that deposit bonus up to $1,000 so you can put these plays in for free. Or if you're watching on TV, scan the QR code, whip out your phone, and download it, lock them in. If you need another tool in the toolbox, download Chalkboard, because I know some people are probably going to say it in the comments. People always say it in the comments. They're looking at these, and they're like, the lines aren't the same. Well, yeah, it's because I put these in on Monday, and the lines, they adjust. The lines adjust, but you have to have another tool in your toolbox, so you got to shop the best lines. Chalkboard is going to have their significant strike totals out probably by Friday night, if not Saturday morning. So if you're shopping the lines, Chalkboard might have a better line than Underdog or Better Picks. You got to play it on that. You always want to be playing the best lines. That's how you win money in this area, man. You got to be playing the best lines possible. So if you're in one of these green states, use code HeyJive when you download Chalkboard. There's a link down in the description below. You'll get some free money. You get your deposit bonus up to $100. So you get some free money. You get to shop the best lines. Link down in the description below. Download Chalkboard so you have that tool in your toolbox. The round prop bet this week is going to be the under 2.5 rounds in the Yadier Davalle and Connor Matthews fight. Davalle went to a decision on the Contender Series, but if you watch that fight, boys, oh my God, he put a beating on this Brazilian guy that was bleeding out of every part of his body. I mean, he took some big shots, and Davalle is a very physical guy with, I don't want to say, he doesn't have like big knockout power, but he lands his shots. Let's just say he lands his shots, and Connor Matthews is very hittable. So the finish that I'm expecting here is probably from Del Valle. He's a massive favorite. He's like minus 500. But, we also open ourselves up to, Connor Matthews maybe fraud checking this guy. Maybe he goes in there, sparks the guy. He's got a couple more UFC fights than Del Valle does. So maybe he just goes in there, goes for broke. His back is up against the wall, and he needs a finish, and he goes in there and finishes Del Valle. How does he do it? He could land some big shot. He could maybe jump on the neck. Who knows? But Del Valle, in all reality, is probably the one that's going to be getting the finish here. I could see a KO. I could see a club and sub. I could see Matthews shooting for a takedown, Yadier pulling that guillotine and getting it done. So I like the under 2.5 here at plus money, plus 120. Putting a unit on that as your round prop bet for the week. Now, if you want all my bets, you're going to jump in the Home of Five Picks premium membership on Winnable. There's a link down in the description below. If you use code BURNS this week, you're going to get a 7-day free trial. In 2025 so far, I'm positive 38.44 units. Last year, I was up over 100. 2023, I was positive 44.76 units. So over the past 2 years, I've proven to be profitable. This year, we are very profitable. And I believe we've cashed in 12 of the 16 UFC cards that have happened in 2025. And we've done pretty dang good, man. We've been very consistent, and I expect us to continue that. So if you want all the bets, jump in the Home of Five Picks Premium membership. Use code BURNS. We've won 8 of the last 9. We were on a 7-week winning streak. We took a L on UFC Des Moines, and then we bounced back last week on the pay-per-view. Went up 1.49 units. So that's where you're going to get every single one of my bets. I usually have between 12 to 15 units out, and hopefully we make some money. I believe we're going to do so. We've been picking our spots pretty nicely, picking up profit every single week, nearly every single week. Use code BURNS, 7-day free trial, link down in the description below. The prop bet this week is going to be Carlos Hernandez by decision at plus 200. Carlos Hernandez, much more UFC experience. He's the veteran here. Hyun-Sung Park has had one UFC fight. It was against probably the worst, in recent memory, probably the worst flyweight that has ever graced the UFC octagon. Shannon Ross should have never been in the UFC, for one, because he lost his Contender Series fight. He got knocked out, but he had an appendix, either like his appendix exploded or something like that, appendicitis. So then they signed him because they were like, oh my God, this guy's got a heart. Turns out he has a terrible chin. Hyun-Sung Park went to the second round with him, knocked him out. Cool. Carlos Hernandez has been in there with some really good competition, and he's been competitive in a lot of those fights. He's also won some fights, and the fights that he has won is against the lower level competition or the guys that just aren't as experienced as him. Carlos Hernandez, very solid boxer, solid cardio, good scrambles, solid offensive wrestling. I think this guy has all the tools to win a decision here. He's not the most dangerous, so I do believe it's probably going to go to a decision. But I think Hernandez does more throughout those 15 minutes to get his hand raised. So give me Carlos Hernandez by decision at plus 200 for half a unit. There's your prop bet for the week. Now we get into the better picks plays, where you can win 100x just like I did at UFC 314. What a glorious night. So if you're in one of these purple states, you're going to want to download Better Picks. There's a link down in the description below. Use code HJIV, get the deposit bonus up to $250, and you can put these plays in. I don't have 2 Better Picks this week. I only got 1 because we put 3 in on Underdog. The lines were just better. As I said, you always got to shop the best lines. So the 2-pick entry right here, we'll just go over this. Rodolfo Bellato, higher than 25.5 significant strikes. Paul Craig, he's got a way of weaseling his way to extending fights a little bit. I expect Bellato to be landing a lot on the feet. I don't think Paul Craig is he's a terrible striker, for one, but I don't think he's a guy that's just going to get hit with one shot and go out. I don't think Bellato has one-shot knockout power. If you look at any of his TKOs, man, it is volume, 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 volume. He just kind of wears you out with these little shots, which I shouldn't say they're little because it's a 225-pound man throwing them. But he's not the biggest power puncher, and I expect Bellato to want to keep this fight on the feet. I think he does, and I think he's going to chip away at Paul Craig, probably find, a second-round TKO, something like that, as long as he doesn't try to grapple. As long as he doesn't try to grapple, I think we're good. Give me Bellato, higher than 25.5, and we're taking Dustin Stoltzfus, lower than 20.5. Ruziboyev doesn't get hit, man. He just doesn't get hit. Even against Joaquin Buckley, early on in the fight, most of it was playing out on the feet. Buckley just was swinging and missing. Like, you just can't hit the guy. He's so tall. He keeps his range very well, and all he does is throw that right hand, but it's very tough to get on the inside. If Stoltzfus wants to win this fight, he's probably got to grapple. And when he's doing that, I don't expect him to be landing, a ton of ground and pound strikes. So most likely I see a Ruziboyev early KO where Stoltzfus isn't landing anything. So I like the lower than 20.5 for Stoltzfus there. 2-pick entry, 3x payout on Better Picks. The 8-pick entry right here, we got Pinheiro, Reed, Stoltzfus all lower. Bellato higher. Morales higher. Moises to get at least one takedown. Jared Gordon lower than 60.5 significant strikes. So at the time I put this in, there wasn't all the options available, but I like to lock everything in at one point. So this is a bit of a correlated play. So if Moises gets at least one takedown, I expect, him to have that for that position for at least a little bit. And Jared Gordon, lower than 60.5, is correlated to that. So I like that. And then Carlos Hernandez, higher than 45.5. We get all 8 of those right. We get a 100x payout, $100 wins $10K. Hopefully we can do it, boys. We've done it before. We've done it before more than once. We've done it this year. Hopefully we can do it this Saturday to cash in big while I'm at the Apex. Once again, if you want to tail these plays, download Betr Picks. If you're in one of these purple states, code HeyJob gets you a deposit bonus up to $250. And lastly, I'm going to thank you for watching the video. And if you want to support the channel and you want a great product, go to ProfessorParlayShop.com. You can get yourself a Professor Parlay tee, black and white, clean design, high quality t-shirt that's going to last you a long, long time. It's not going to just go to shit after the first wash. It's going to last you a while. It's a quality product. I'm not making much money off of it, I can tell you that. But it's a way for everybody in the HeyJob Picks community to support and get a quality product throughout it. So appreciate y'all for watching. Like the video for me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We'll be cashing some bets at the Apex. Stay tuned for that. Appreciate y'all. Till next time, HeyJob Picks.